even bigger pain than my so-called friend Ray. What are you doing playing choo-choo anyway? Ha! You look like a big dork.
I don't know why I bother talking to you. Out of here, the next stop.
Moon Podcast Escalation!
Hey everybody, welcome to Sailor Business. My name is Jordan D. White.
My name is Chris Sims, and this is the show where we watch every single episode of the classic 1992 Sailor Moon anime and break it down scene by scene so that we can talk about just why it is that we love this show so much. We have a great one today. One of my all-time favorite episodes. If you're watching along, it is episode 11, Usagi vs. Rei, Nightmare in Dreamland. And we are joined once again by Betty Fellon, who's going to be our special guest for this episode. Betty, hi, how are you?
I am doing well. I'm
what
really
is
excited to talk about this episode.
What is the snack you were just eating? I'm curious.
I was eating a piece of Holland toast with a salmon, like a lox spread on it. It's what I believe that grown-up magical girls run out of the house in their mouths. So
Nice.
Yeah.
It's very, very classy. I'm excited. I am a fan of toast, as our listeners know. I cannot wait to get into this episode. It is so bananas.
I love this episode so much because like everything. I remember when I was a kid watching this and being like so hyped for it because it had everything I liked about like anime and like I love amusement parks. So I was just like so thrilled, and I thought, and they had like talking animals.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, everything about it was like so cute to me. And then the end of it was just like, oh, this is really kind of creepy, but it's, I don't know, I loved it. It's like one of my favorite episodes for sure.
It definitely has, I mean, it has everything I love about Sailor Moon. It has really good interplay between Rei and Usagi, which, like I said, like I think Rei's a little too much of a jerk, but I like her character dynamic being the one who gets in conflicts with Usagi, and there's a lot of that in this episode. It has a super creepy villain. It has a completely bizarre Dark Kingdom plot that makes no sense and is financially unstable. And it has the best, by far, interaction between Usagi and Mamoru.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm glad. I'm glad you feel that way because I love this one.
It's the next two episodes, spoiler warning, next week's show is going to be the one about the cruise, and that one's great. So these two episodes, these might actually be my favorite episodes of the first season, which makes them my favorite episodes of the series by default.
So before we get to it, though, I mentioned last episode that we had been asked some questions on Twitter, and we have a bunch of other questions that we can get through. I think they're all asked by Christy L. Stewart, at Christy L. Stewart on Twitter.
And we should say the Twitter account of the show is at Sailor Business. And if you have a question for us, feel free to just shoot one over via the Twitter, and we will try to get around to it on the show.
So I think we can knock these ones out real quick before this episode. It'll be fun. So she asks, the magical girl genre is so widely popular, but why do you think that Sailor Moon of all franchises became the legend that it did? Why Sailor Moon?
I would guess because it was super prominent in both Japan and America. The show runs for 200 episodes, and we got a lot of those over here, even if, most people, I think most people, if they saw it, probably just saw the episodes that I did, like the first season. And it's also really good.
Yeah.
It's really great.
I mean, I don't think I've seen a ton of magical girl series, to be totally honest with you. Sailor Moon.
Were there a lot before Sailor Moon?
Well, like just in general in Japan and America, like I think because I'm trying to think, like it seems like most of the magical girls from like the 70s and 80s were singular characters. So it'd be like Cutie Honey, or it would be like characters that were standalone. They'd only have one magical girl. I think Sailor Moon was like the first to have like a whole team. Like it's almost like they combined what was so appealing about Super Sentai shows with like a team of rangers versus like, oh, let's just make a whole team team of magical girls, and I think that might have been what's so appealing, that, people watch it and they're like, oh, clearly I relate to this scout, or I really like these couple scouts, and likewise, it's like, that's how people feel about Power Rangers, where it's like, oh, I want to be that Power Ranger,
The inner Senshi are as close to being a Sentai as you can be. I mean, there's 5 of them. Mm-hmm. They are color coded. Mm-hmm. They all have a different strength, a different characteristic that kind of defines them, whether it's Makoto being strong or Amy being smart. I think there's a lot of stuff that kind of comes together. And then it's also one of those things that's like, like Spider-Man, where it changes the game. Like everything that comes after is kind of reacting to or influenced by Sailor Moon in some way.
I just Googled Magical Girl just to see if there was if I could find a list quick. But what I found was the Wikipedia page. Do you know what they credit as being the inspiration for the Magical Girl genre?
What's that?
Apparently, in the 60s, Bewitched became incredibly popular among young Japanese girls.
Oh, that's so cool!
And so, as a result of Bewitched becoming incredibly popular, a show came about called Sally the Witch, and that is regarded as the very first.
Yeah! That makes so much more sense.
Magical Girl show. That's kind of mind-blowing to me. The ones that they list in this, they have Sally the Witch, then they go Sailor Moon has revitalized the genre and paved the way for later successful titles. Then they skip to Magical Girl Lyrical Nanoha, and then which is in 2003, and then 2010 Madoka Magica, which people have been telling me I should watch that, but I have not gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, well, anime's for nerds, bro.
Oh, that's why.
And I mean, we also talked, I mentioned that interview last week where they were talking about how, at least in the magazine where Sailor Moon originally appeared, and Sailor V, I guess, was mostly skewed towards just traditional romance comics, and Sailor Moon combined that with a superhero action story. So, I mean, it's easy to see why there was this, big combination of stuff that kind of led to Sailor Moon being the book and the show. Not the least of which being that it's really good.
Yeah.
So I think we've covered that question pretty well. Let's see what else we got. Do you guys read the original codename Sailor V? And if so, what did you think? I think we both loved it, right?
Yeah, love it.
It was terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I very much feel that in the show, especially season 1, they don't really give you a whole lot to latch onto with Sailor Venus. At the first, she just kind of shows up and it's like everybody goes, oh my god, she's beautiful, and they don't give her a lot of personality.
Like they do with literally everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my god, she smells so great.
But even so, I feel like you get much more personality from especially like Mars and Jupiter and even Mercury. And when I did my rewatch, I was thinking, oh, Venus has like no personality for a while. And then reading Sailor V, it's like, oh no, she's super fun and super cool. And yes, it is a lot like Sailor Moon, her personality.
Yeah, I think you run into the problem of Minako being so much like Usagi that they're not sure what to do with her when she shows up in the anime.
Well, wasn't that like the original intent of Minako? Like, because originally Naoko wanted to just do like a singular magical girl series, but then they're like, well, why don't we have like a whole team of them? And she's like, okay. And then that's where she went off from Sailor V to then the whole Sailor Scouts. So I think maybe like, but that's what I kind of like about once Sailor V finally shows up, that it's kind of no big deal. It's kind of like, oh, this is that famous Sailor Scout, no big deal. Like I think that kind of makes her more humble. Yeah,
it's really weird that you don't like. They always talk about her. I mean, they mention her in this episode that we're about to watch too.
Yeah.
So there's this entire parallel story that you don't know if you're not reading this other manga, which is really like, it's really interesting. Like as someone who thinks about the process of things and how different forms of media interact a lot, like it's really interesting to try and figure out what the intent was and whether that was meant to be, and what fans would have reacted to knowing that there was this entire other thing that was out there that maybe they hadn't read. Because if you're just coming from the show, which I assume was reaching a larger audience than the manga, even in Japan, where I'm sure it was a hit. I'm pretty sure Sailor Moon was a smash hit manga. Like there were probably fewer people who knew about codename Sailor V, and then you go and read it and you're like, oh no, this is the exact same thing. This is like, because she acts so much like Usagi. She has a cat. She's a talking cat. She plays the Sailor V video game. The only difference is that she doesn't put her hair up in odongo. She puts them up in a bow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I would highly recommend it. Even if you are not a big fan of the Sailor Moon manga, even if you just know it from the show, pick up those 2 volumes of Codename Sailor V. They're really fun.
Super fun.
They're so cute. I love them.
And I think we'll probably be talking about that when we get to Minako showing up, because there is an episode that is a big flashback about her time as Sailor V, as a solo hero, that is unfortunately super boring and not very good.
Here's a question that is addressed to me, but I have no idea what the answer is, which is, Jordan, why do you think so many fans of Deadpool are also fans of Sailor Moon? In my employment capacity as a person who's a professional person, I edit the Deadpool comic, and I have no idea. When I started working on Deadpool, I was very surprised to find how many female fans he had. In general, I had no idea that was a thing. And it's great. It's super awesome, but I don't know the answer. I don't know what it is that, I mean, obviously it worked for me too. I love Deadpool and I love Sailor Moon. I don't know. I don't know what the similarity is.
That's surprising to me.
Oh, Deadpool.
No, I assume these are fans of Sailor Moon who are like really into the original, like Rob Liefeld, Scott Lobdell Sailor Deadpool, Moon, right? Like not the funny one.
No, it's the funny one. Of course, it's the funny one.
No, it's gotta be the talking about Circle Chase.
Yeah, they're all about Circle Chase.
Talking about X-Force.
You can find quite a few drawings of Deadpool dressed and non-drawings and photos of Deadpool dressed as Sailor Moon.
Well, that is unsurprising. I have been to San Diego.
There you go. I honestly don't know what the connection is. Because neither of you are Deadpool fans, right?
No, I like Deadpool.
Oh, do you?
No, I hate Deadpool.
Okay.
No, Jordan, I hate that thing that you work on.
I didn't think you were that big into it. I don't know.
I really, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Joe Kelly Ed McGuinness series.
Sure.
And because it was at the time that it came out, everything else both in comics and at Marvel specifically felt like it was really super serious.
Right.
And Deadpool was one of the few books that was having fun with it. And I mean, I like comics that are serious. You know, I like your Batmans way more than anybody else. I was about to say I like it as much as anybody else, but that's not true. I love it more than everyone except maybe Betty.
Have you guys ever had a competition for who likes Batman more?
No,
because we want to remain friends, I think.
Yeah. You know what? I'll give Chris Batman as long as he does realize that I am the Gem fan. So.
Oh wow!
Yes, that is true.
Yeah,
you've been in that game longer than me.
I have.
I came in late, but I was passionate.
Yeah, and you know what? I respect the fact that you're a new fan. You know,
yeah.
I'm not gonna gatekeep synergy. Anyway,
look, me and my friends are Gem girls.
And you know, once you're a Gem girl, you're never the same.
So yeah, I do like Deadpool.
Okay, cool.
But I don't know. Like, there's no obvious connection.
No, there really isn't.
To Sailor Moon, other than that, you know, they're both comics that are funny.
I think maybe what the connection is maybe like, because I noticed that there are a lot of, like, whenever I see a whole pack of Deadpools, there's almost always one that's like, you know, does a variant Deadpool that's, you know, totally fan created. That's like, oh, how about Deadpool if it was also Storm? Or what if Deadpool was also wearing like this person's costume? And I've seen like Sailor Moon Deadpools before, so I don't know if it's explicitly a connection as much as just like, oh, like Deadpool cosplayers love this, you know, they think it's so funny when we dress up like Sailor Moon, you know. Deadpool
as a character like really found footing and really found success in the idea that there are a lot of metatextual references in it, I think. You know, like he's a fourth wall breaking character. Like even when he shows up in video games, like I love that in Marvel vs. Capcom, he'll like grab the life bar and use it as a weapon. I think that's really fun. Yep. And Sailor Moon is a comic that defined and codified a lot of the sort of standard tropes and elements of magical girl stories. You know, like the lazy heroine, the toast in the mouth. So I feel like when you have something that's kind of reveling in pointing out and skewering standard elements and tropes like that, and then you have this other thing that's also really fun but is also operating with a lot of those things, I feel like there's a lot of overlap there in terms of appeal. So
Sailor Moon and Deadpool fans are all formalists at heart.
Yes, I think so. Congratulations, you didn't even know it, but you're all formalists.
Here's a mind breaking question. What if Luna was a scorpion?
What does that mean?
I guess how would it change the show? Would you still like it? I don't think I would like Luna as much if she were a scorpion.
Shingo would be dead.
Yep, sure.
And they probably wouldn't have let Serena keep Luna. Mom probably would have been like, no, honey.
Can you imagine Serena walking around all day with a little scorpion on her shoulder?
Oh, that is kind of cute.
No, it's
Like,
the worst.
Okay.
It's
so
punk as hell is what it is.
that reminds me of one of my favorite non-magical girl movies by the name of Simply Irresistible, starring Sarah Michelle Gellar as a magical witch chef. And she has a magical crab that waves his claw and then it makes her emotions into the food. That crab is super cute. So I feel like if in the proper context, if they made the scorpion like adorable and say cute little things to her, I might be into it.
It would say, keep your mind on sailor business.
Oh, that'd be so cute. As long as it still has the voice or that little naggy, Luna voice, I feel like you can't not love Luna's voice,
Sure.
Okay, here's my question. What if Luna was the Scorpions, the German rock band that's known for Rock You Like a Hurricane?
That would be very different.
So wait, so you got that question?
I think we solved it. I think we nailed it. Here, let's do one more. There's some more questions, but we do want to get to the episode here. This one more. Who do you guys ship? Do you ship anyone on the show?
Mercury and Jupiter.
All right.
Really?
Yeah.
Brains
that
and
episode
brawn.
where they dance together. That's so romantic.
Yeah, it is very romantic. Okay,
And she is clearly not into that boy.
Which one?
Yeah.
Amy is clearly not into that boy who shows up.
She is.
Yeah, okay. So I ship Rhea and Chad.
Of course. Good.
That's canonical.
Yeah, that's canonical, but I a lot of my ships are very canonical.
Yeah. Me too.
And I really do love Neptune and Uranus together. And again, shipped canonical, but I like their relationship is just really sweet to me. And I don't know, I really like Motoki so much, but I don't really ship him with anyone. I would like to date him myself because I think he's really sweet. He'd be like a good first boyfriend, I think, personally.
He is a dude who wears a three-piece suit to his job at the arcade.
Yeah, so cute.
No, I would rather. I am
also,
Team Motoki, as we've discussed.
Yep.
Yeah, Motoki is so cute. And I also Jordan and I were discussing this earlier. I love Luna and Artemis, but I do love that fat cat that loves Luna.
Yes.
Oh, that is another great episode. I can't wait for that one.
The best.
I love that episode so much. It's just so sweet.
That is the best.
Ugh.
So I don't really have any like non-canonical shipping. Like I do love. I like Serena and Darian, and I know that's controversial on this show. And I like I kind of like Melvin and Molly too. I think that's adorable.
Oh yeah, I love Melvin and Molly.
The only thing I was kind of surprised at how much I like, and I can't remember his stupid name, Serena and the lead of the Sailor Stars in Stars, because at that point Serena and Darian are like a thing, and even so I was still kind of going, oh, he's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that's our shipping news. Now we can get to the episode.
And also Usagi and every one of her friends that she is madly in love with.
I mean, Usagi and teenage me. Like, I was in love with her so much back then. So there you go. So what's this episode, Chris? Episode 11, right? One of your favorites.
That's right. This is Usagi versus Rei, Nightmare in Dreamland. As in the previous episode, I am going to be comparing it not to the manga, because we are once again off script. This is a filler episode, so to speak. And it is the next episode that we're going to get that's actually based on the manga is the Masquerade Ball, which you may recall as the one where Usagi gets drunk and makes out with Darien. So that is going to happen. But for right now, we have a really fun one to get through. We open at the Hikawa Shrine, or in the novelization, the Cherry Hill Shrine, in Rei's bedroom. where everyone's hanging out.
I think this is the first time we see Rey in a non-Shrine Maiden, non-Sailor Mars outfit.
Right. We haven't even seen her in her school uniform that she wears in her first appearance in the manga. The outfits in this episode, Serena is dressed pretty standard, pink t-shirt, blue jacket, and a skirt. Amy's dressed like a 90-year-old person.
Like a little grandma. It's so cute.
She's got Betty, help me out here. Is that a Peter Pan collar that she's rocking?
I believe so. Let me look up.
And a string tie and a pink cardigan.
I think Serena's wearing shorts.
She's wearing shorts.
Because she spends a lot of this episode riding on things, which would be weird if she was wearing a tiny skirt.
Oh, yeah, it would be so weird if Sailor Moon was wearing a tiny skirt doing things that one should not wear that in.
She ends up with her legs wrapped around Sailor Mars's head at one point. I think it's best that she's wearing shorts, is all I'm saying.
You're probably right. Mars is wearing a seafoam green turtleneck with a yellow shirt tied over it, which is an interesting look, and pleated khakis. So I feel like Mars has an idea of how normal people dress. She like just arrived from the wizarding world, I think.
This is a good episode. This is a really fun episode. Oh, I can't wait.
It's really good.
All right.
Usagi notices that Mars is also a fan of the Sailor V manga. And I mention this because it's very quickly brought up in the show. She's like, oh, hey, I haven't read this one yet. And Mars won't let her read it until she's done with it.
Which is not terrible of her. That's sensible.
Well, no, it's like I feel like that is a rule that all comics fans have with their friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I bring this up because in the novelization, Leanne Centaur, this is from the novel Mars Attacks, which is the 4th in the series. And between our last episode and this one, I did buy the next 3 novels. So you're in for these for a while.
This is gonna be great.
Leanne Centaur uses this as an occasion to kind of give Rey a little more characterization. So this is what happens in the novel. Rey, your room is perfect for lounging, she said with a grin. I didn't know temples could have such great vegging rooms. Or that a priestess could be so with the times, she added to herself. Rey's walls were plastered with posters of 9 Inch Nails, Buffy, and the X-Files. Oh! Fantasy novels were stacked on her desk. It looked like living in a temple didn't keep Rey from acting like a normal, hip teenager.
Oh, hip.
God.
Oh, hip. My goodness.
I feel like, and again, it's worth noting, Leanne Centaur wrote this at the age of 17 in 1999. So we're the same age, Leanne Centaur and I.
Have you tried to find her on Twitter?
I have. I think we are going to reach out and see if she wants to be a guest on the show.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
That would be
I'm very excited about it. But I feel like if you went to her room in 1999, you would have seen posters of 9 Inch Nails, Buffy, and the X-Files, and a stack of fantasy novels.
Absolutely.
But let me just put some defense here. The fact that she's got a Sailor V comic already is like mind-blowing. This is like revelatory, because last episode, all we saw was her performing her duties as a Shrine Maiden, seeing evil in fires, and yelling at Usagi. So the fact that she's like, yeah, I read comics, it's like, wait, really? Wow. I would not have guessed that.
Well, I think the implication of the last episode was that she was, praying so hard and going through the rituals so much because she was trying to find out what happened with all those buses so she could clear the name of the shrine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it turns out like, oh no, she's normal. She's got that stack of fantasy novels like every hip teenager does. She knows all about Driss Do'Urden and his violet eyes.
But you know what? I'll buy that because she's like you said, she doesn't really have friends either.
Yeah, no, I think I do think that is an interesting note for her character. But we do not see Buffy and X-Files posters in her room in the anime. So that is an invention.
Well, because Buffy hadn't started when the anime.
Well, yeah, nor had the X-Files. I don't think.
Right. Well,
yeah,
somewhere around there. Yeah.
What would be her posters in 92?
92. Like in 92, I was still watching dumb sitcoms, so I'm trying to think of like what was actually cool in 92.
I mean, I was 10. I had a Batman the Animated Series locker poster.
Sure. Yeah, there you go. She could have had Batman the Animated Series and X-Men Animated Series.
If that was what we saw in the background, that would make Rey my favorite character. If we were like, oh yeah, of course she has problems interacting with people. She only knows how to interact from reading Batman comics. Like, that is a problem.
I don't know what else we would have had back then. Yeah, I feel like all my big cultural things started around the time of the X-Files. Yeah, which would have been around 93 or so.
So it turns out that Luna's trying to get the scouts to work together because there is a problem. There is an amusement park called Dreamland.
Wait, hang on. But you're skipping with the part where they call Luna out on her BS for once.
Oh, okay.
Because Luna actually is going, guys, we got work to do. We have to find this moon princess. What should we do about that, guys? And everybody's like, do you know what she looks like? No. And then they go, then what are we supposed to do? And they go, well, let's focus on the other thing, like protecting people from monsters. All right, I guess that's what we'll do.
The actual line in the show is, I bet she's carrying a big sign that says she's the princess. Which I believe is spoken by Bunny Moon, Sailor Moon, who looks just like Princess Serenity.
Luna doesn't know what she looks like, so.
Which is weird, because we definitely see her in flashbacks. I don't understand why no one knows what the Moon Princess looks like, other than that it's a plot convenience.
Yes. Well, just like it's the plot convenience that they don't know that Sailor Moon and Serena are the same, even though they look exactly alike. So they are. And travel with the same cat. So
I also like that we talked about this in the last episode where it was just Amy and Usagi, that Amy and Usagi have an interesting dynamic, but maybe not a really entertaining one. As I think Devin mentioned, like, they're not gonna hang out together.
Yeah.
Like, because Amy's just gonna be like, I gotta go study, and Usagi's just gonna be like, I don't like studying. I'm gonna go sleep.
And we saw that last episode. At the beginning of the episode, they were like, hey, let's do something. And she's like, I'm going to cram school. I still do that.
So throwing in Rei, you get instant conflict between Rei and Usagi, and then Amy as the
mediator.
Yeah, she becomes the peacemaker and the mediator, and is obviously the more mature character because she's, maybe not experienced at having friends, but she's smarter and seems more grown up, which the dynamic brings out the kid in Rei and it brings out the grown up in Amy. And I think that's really cool. Like, I like all the Inner Senshi a lot, but I'm glad that we get like 10 episodes of just these three characters because they play off each other so well.
Yeah, I love their dynamic together. Just really, I don't know. I think it's really cool that they balance Usagi's, sporadicness, I guess, with like, their grown-up-ship, but in turn they all kind of indulge in their own Usagi-ness also,
Yeah. So they decide that they're going to go investigate Dreamland. In the novel, now again, keep in mind that I've just been talking about how much I like Rei's character and her dynamic.
Okay.
On the team. The novel makes her, like, shoves her right back into being a jerk because, and Jordan, there's a dub of this episode.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I want to know how much of this actually comes through in the dub. They get ready to go to the amusement park, and obviously Usagi, or Serena in this case, is really excited about it because they're going to an amusement park.
Right.
Rei shook her head. Great, she muttered. One food crazy boy chaser and one seriously bossy guardian cat. I can see being a Sailor Scout is going to be loads of fun.
Wow. I don't remember that being in the dub.
Well, then, like I said, I've always been a big fan of Mercury, and the next line is great. It's Amy shrugged as she stroked Luna's fur. You get used to it. Oh, it's so great. It's so great. American Rei, jerk.
Japanese Rei is a jerk. Come on. They're both jerks, as we will see throughout this episode.
So we go to the Dark Kingdom.
50 people have already been taken. Like, we don't know where they've gone. 50 people have gone to this amusement park and never come back. So, like you said, we go to the Dark Kingdom. They're talking about it. And he's like, yeah, I never would have thought there'd be a third one. Which is sort of weird, because I'm sort of like, didn't they know there was more than two, like, back in the day? But whatever.
Well, it's also, like, you'd think that Jedi would be like, Queen Beryl, I got some bad news. I went to the library, and it turns out there's 9 planets. And, like, 20 moons.
That's true.
We are going to be dealing with 9 to 30 of these Sailor Guardians. I don't know exactly how many, but it's probably going to keep being a problem.
Does that mean you think Phobos and Deimos can transform and they're actually Sailor Scouts of moons of Mars?
I feel like Phobos and Deimos should talk.
Sure.
Like, if Luna talks, I feel like Phobos and Deimos should talk.
I mean, on the last episode, we talked about how Rey was kind of like, whoa, Luna talks. I think she was probably taken aback because she clearly talks and communicates to the ravens.
Yeah.
And then she's probably like, whoa, why don't my animals talk, you know?
Yeah, Phobos and Deimos are clearly, like, they're not ordinary ravens.
Right.
I mean, they attack Usagi because they sense evil. So
what happens in the Dark Negamoon Kingdom there? Negaverse?
Well, we actually see Queen Beryl using the ball for something. She projects an image of the Sailor Scouts that they can talk about.
Good. Useful.
And then she goes right back to swirling it, right back to working the crystal.
If you like, it's like if the energy settles, it becomes useless.
Yeah,
you have to keep stirring.
Gotta keep it stirring it up.
It deflates. Yeah. We cut to a press conference, although an unwilling press conference, where the press are mobbing a dude, like a security guard, going, 50 people disappeared, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, all we know is the same number of people come in as go out, so you guys all suck. And he physically pushes the entire press corps out the door and down the stairs. Shocking reveal. That's Jedi doing that. And he's like, yeah, I just lied to them.
So here's my question.
Yeah,
there's two options here.
Mm-hmm.
One, Jedi has gotten a job
right
at the amusement park. Like he got a job at the shrine. Two, Dreamland is a Dark Kingdom operation, which means that they built an amusement park.
I think that the answer is like slightly in between, because spoiler for the end of the episode, the entire Sweet Castle or whatever they call it, Sweet Factory or whatnot, turns to dust. An entire castle crumbles to dust, but the whole park doesn't because they're still eating ice cream that they buy at the park after that. So it seems like he came to this amusement park and went, got some ideas. We're going to erect a castle over there and have a bunch of talking animals. What do you say to that?
This plan requires months minimum of setup.
Sure.
Like on the high side, years.
Well, come on, it can't be years.
Yeah, no, it can't be. It makes no sense. That is my problem.
It's months. But if it is months, then it's
takeover of the amusement park. So I feel like Jedi has kind of gotten to the point where he's got like 20 different plans going at the same time. He's like, all right, look, while I'm working at this shrine, I need you, Dolly, to go to this amusement park. Maybe murder the girl who's playing the mascot and take her place, and then supervise the construction of my energy sucking machine in the castle. While that's going on, I'm going to need you to go to the cruise ship line and see if you can't buy me up a cruise ship. Like, it doesn't have to be a nice one. We'll fix it up.
This makes sense. And what this means is, what this makes sense most of to me is that it reduces his creepy walking around to just one day. He probably just walked around one day, wrote down everything he saw.
You think he had like a moleskin in his jacket, and he was just like, okay, talent shows, radio shows, one of these is going to work.
Exercise places,
gyms, psychics.
He wrote this all down, got back to work, went, all right, you do this, and they just have been knocking it out. Unfortunately,
I mean that does explain why only one monster attacks at a time. Like, because you'd think like they could get like 5 or 6 of these guys and just put them in the same place and be like, hey, just kill them when they show up.
They're all busy either doing plans or standing around Queen Beryl and watching her swirl.
She's a great swirler. She's so good at swirling. You can't even deny that.
So
there's one thing that I do want to talk about real quick that we mentioned a few minutes ago. Rey's ravens.
Yes.
Phobos and Deimos. That's a good name for Sailor Mars's pets.
Right.
That is not such a good name for a girl who does not know that she's Sailor Mars.
Right.
Because you can imagine Grandpa or Chad showing up and being like, "Hey, what's your raven's names?" She goes, "Oh, that's Phobos, that's Deimos." And then they go, "Oh, where did those names come from? Those are interesting names." And Rey can either say, "Oh, those are the names of the moons of Mars," which is, okay,
true.
Now we saw 9 Inch Nails, Buffy, stack of fantasy novels.
Yeah,
no astronomy textbooks mentioned.
You know what? She's been playing Doom or Doom 2, where they go there.
Maybe. My my theory is that, like, Chad comes in and says, hey, where do those names come from? And she goes, oh, it's Greek for panic and terror.
Oh, that's true.
The conditions that destroy, accompany the god of war onto the battlefield, and it show the true horrors of war. And Chad's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go.
You know what? Have you ever seen? And I'm gonna guess no because you've never mentioned it, but you never know. Have you seen Sailor Moon Abridged?
I have not.
Yes.
Sailor Moon Abridged is a
We've
web
talked about it on the
series.
show before, but I have not gotten and watched it yet.
Super funny. Super. They shorten and redub the shows, so they make like little 5-minute joke episodes, and they are portrayed. That fits really well with their portrayal of Sailor Mars as like, psychotic and depressed and screaming all the time. And
she is super goth.
yes, basically, yeah. Except the way she dresses, which is very pleasant in this episode.
Everybody's wearing their pleated slacks. So in the show, the scouts the Senshi head over to the amusement park, and Usagi gets there first, or possibly just runs in ahead of the others.
Right.
And so you get a shot of Rei and Amy walking around together, and then they see Usagi, and she is riding on a carousel.
Having the best time. She's just like so exuberant and so happy about it.
In the novel, she is not riding on the carousel.
What?
This is what happens in the novel. Luna stopped in mid-sentence. The champion of justice was gone. Luna turned red with anger. Serena! Amy spotted Serena first at a snack stand.
Oh.
The champion of justice was scarfing down a huge pink cloud of cotton candy while hugging 2 large pretzels, a super huge popcorn, a Sprite, and 3 hot dogs with the works.
The works. 3. That's a lot of food even for a character who eats a lot.
There is also a line later where I think it's Mars has to carry Sailor Moon somewhere. And she's like, oh, Jesus, this girl is heavy. What does she eat? And Amy goes, anything she can get her hands on.
I actually liked that it was the carousel, even though I wrote down a carousel of all things, because they're there and there's a lot of fun stuff going on, and it's like she could not resist the carousel, which it's adorable in how childish it is. It's surprising to me. Speaking of things that are surprising, it surprised me how long it took me to realize this, because I didn't write this note down until halfway through the dub after watching the original subtitle. They just let Luna in this park.
Yeah.
They just walked into the amusement park with their cat, and then there's no trouble with that.
Well, what we don't see is another use of the transformation pen, the Luna pen, changing Usagi into someone else who can wear a cat as an accessory.
But then even they meet with people who ostensibly work there, like the princess, and the princess isn't like, I mean, granted, the princess is busy trying to get their energy, but she doesn't go, you're not allowed to have your cat here.
Well, to be fair, this is the one place where they could kind of pass that off, because there are a lot of robotic talking animals.
So you're saying the princess is going to like wave her hand over the apple and go, I'm going to make that cat talk. And the cat, and Luna's like, what is she doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is a possibility that there is a talking cat character at Dreamland. And even if there's not, like, if they see a talking cat walking around, they're just going to be like, oh, that's probably the new robot.
The new robot. All right, fair enough. So they make fun of her for riding on the carousel. They berate her. Then they all sit down and they just say terrible things to her. And wait, Mars smacks her to the ground.
Mars
correct?
Hits her.
Yeah, throws
Your
her on the ground.
favorite character, Betty.
What is do you remember what the context was that makes her hit her?
Well, she is.
I think she's kind of like, oh, like you have to concentrate on the mission. You can't just go doing that. And then she kind of like smacks her to be like, but I think also it's a case of like Mars not really knowing her own strength, and I think she mentally just kind of playfully be like, hey, no, and then Serena falls over.
No, she knocks her several feet forward.
Yes, she's sitting on a bench and gets shoved off the bench onto the ground, onto her hands.
It is very violent.
This knocks her face to face with a lion, which is quite disturbing for everyone, until the lion says hello. And they all realize the lion can talk, and it is in fact a robot, apparently.
There's great animation in this part. There's a close-up on Luna's face where she's saying unbelievable. Like, she cannot believe that Serena is so shirking her duties so much, and it's really great. Usagi's reaction to the lion is great. She ends up perched on Rey's shoulders, holding onto her hair. So it's such a great shot. There's a lot of really, really good animation in this episode in general, and in this sequence in particular.
Yeah, because then she meets the princess. What's her name? Princess
Dream.
Princess Dream. And she realizes that this is all part of the show, and she launches off of Mars's head. She does a leapfrog over her head, and it's so adorable and funny. She's thrilled to meet this princess. She starts hugging all the animals. The princess brings out all the other robot animals who are all super cute. She starts riding on a bear.
Princess Dream summons all these animals, by the way, by waving her hand over a magic apple, which is the remote control. And I gotta say, her swirling technique, not as good as Barrel's.
Nope, not even close.
This is amateur swirling at best.
So again, they are like, so Mars comes over to Sailor Moon, takes her off of the bear, and is like, listen, this princess, something is off here. Remember I have these powers, I can sense things. I don't think this is right. Sailor Moon's like, really? That's weird. Princess then goes, who wants candy? And Sailor Moon goes, I do!
They do get in a great fight where Rey says, yeah, you can't tell because you're too dense.
Oh, yeah.
And Usagi, rightfully so, goes, hey, I've been doing this for 3 months. You just joined up. So
I forgot to say that,
know your role. Shut your mouth.
Too dense. That sounds like something that she would say in the American one, but that was in the Japanese one. See, that's her being a jerk in the original. But to be fair, then again, Candy wins her over immediately. The princess says, yeah, come into this castle over here. You get all the free candy you want, sweets, whatever you need. You can eat it. And she's like, that sounds amazing. And they go, no, we have, remember Sailor Business that we're doing? And they don't let her get free food. That's how terrible they are.
Yeah, which is a crime. That is a crime.
So then Luna, again, with her brilliant plans, with her so smart plans, Luna goes, so what we're going to do is split up. I'll go with Amy. You two who hate each other, you go together.
It's a team building exercise. So
you think she's doing this on purpose?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
I'll
also,
allow it.
I think it's either a team building exercise or Luna is up to here with it.
Oh, that's true too. That's possible.
With Usagi. She's like, yeah, I gotta live with her.
I'm going with Amy. We're going to be sensible together. So they split up, and what Rey wants to do is follow the princess, just sit around watching the princess. And we get this crazy scene where the princess is putting a little boy on the back of the bear. Mars runs over and goes, take that boy off that bear! To which the princess is like, all right, little boy, we'll have you ride the bear later when the crazy.
There's also a scene where we see Jedi inside Sleeping Beauty's castle.
Oh, did I skip that? I'm sorry.
Where, and again, it's such a great shot because the background is this tower with a spiral staircase around it, and there's just bodies everywhere, like falling out of the windows, heaped on the stairs. Mm-hmm. It's all over super scary. The stairs, yeah. It's really, really great.
That's when he says that he reveals that this plan is really there to lure the Sailor Scouts.
Yeah, like they seem to have changed their focus from just stealing energy to, all right, look, we can't steal energy unless we kill these girls first.
So Mars makes them take the boy off the bear. All of a sudden, Usagi pops up and goes, no, he's riding the bear right now. And they end up playing tug of war with this child until the child's mother comes up and goes, release my child. Then they end up getting to what is one of the best scenes of the episode, possibly the best scene of the episode, in which they are riding on the little train around the park, and which Usagi says is super great because it gives them a nice vantage point to scout around. All of a sudden, the train stops very shortly.
I think you mean to Senshi around.
Of course. Exactly. The train stops suddenly. Serena's face is launched forward into the back of the person in front of her. Guess who she didn't notice was sitting right in front of her, even though she was specifically looking around. She is sitting there going, yes, I can see an awful lot of things from here. Does not notice right in front of her. There's Mamoru.
This is the best Mamoru scene by far. Because it's the one where Usagi gets to call Mamoru out on his bullshit.
Well, I like it because this is the one where you find out he has feelings, but go ahead.
Well, first of all, he refers to Usagi as Bunhead. He's like, hey, why don't you apologize for bumping into me, Bunhead? And Rey goes, Bunhead? That's classic.
It is.
Ugh. Ugh.
It would only be more perfect if she called her Meatball Head.
And now he says, but I will give him this. He says she looks like a steamed bun because now she's mad. That's solid.
That's clever.
Usagi flips out, says, stop making jokes at my expense, and then said, hey, by the way, you're like 23. Why are you riding the kitty train? You have no friends.
Yeah.
And then like laughs in his face.
And he flushes.
Yeah, he's upset. He's hurt by this.
Yeah, I think that's like what's so sweet about it is that he's genuinely upset. He's like, oh, I guess I am gonna.
Yeah, isn't it weird when someone on the street walks up and insults you? Doesn't that make you feel bad?
But he says it with a smirk, and she says it with a frown. It's different.
She is genuinely trying to hurt him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, she should be. She should be. He's a jerk, and I hate him.
Now here's the deal. In the dub, she's not as skillful at hurting him. Because yes, in this one, it's like, oh, she cut him to the core. Like she finally hit the breaking point and went, I'm gonna get you where it hurts. In the dub, she's yelling at him and she goes, you look like a big dork.
I mean, that is true. Does he blush similarly?
That is his culmination. His response is, he turns forward and he goes, oh, that's it. I'm out of here at the next stop.
My favorite thing is that she asks why he's riding the kitty train.
Right.
Because, he's being a jerk. Like, he's like, hey, why don't you go find someone your own age? Solid advice for this dude who won't stop hitting on a 14-year-old by trying to insult her on the street. He says, yeah, besides, what are you even doing on the kitty train? You're like 23. And he goes, I have my reasons.
So let's think about that. Is this, now I can't remember, because again, this is like slightly spoiler territory. Does he know he's Tuxedo Mask or not?
He does not at this point.
So at this point, he really doesn't have his reasons. His reasons are like, I just feel like I should be at the park on the kitty train. Like this, I mean, because to be fair, let me just put that defense forward for Mamoru. He's wandering through his life, just like feeling these crazy compulsions to just go places. He's just like, I guess. Oh, look, I'm near this this gym. I'm near this psychic place. I'm like, oh, this clock store. I better go there. Like for no reason. He does not understand it at all because then the actual part that explains it happens when he's Tuxedo Mask.
The animation in this part is great too. Like the faces are so good. And even like when he gets insulted, it's the only time in the series that Memoru's hair isn't perfect. Like he gets like his hair is insulted. In the novel, this is how this scene goes down. The man turned around. I think it's just your lack of balance that's dangerous. Serena's eyes widened. Oh God, she thought, not him again. But it was him, the dark-haired creep who always seemed to pop up when Serena was at her most embarrassed. Making fun of her seemed to be the guy's favorite pastime. She usually bumped into him around crossroads. What was he doing here? Later on, the description is, the dark-haired guy was as fashionable as ever, clad in a black short-sleeve Ralph Lauren polo shirt and Dockers khakis.
Lots of brand names. Lots of brand names.
He sounds like a dad. He dresses like a dad.
But I will say the novel gives him a comeback, which I really don't like that happens. The guy was at least a few years older than Serena. What kind of teenage loser made fun of middle school girls and rode kitty trains? Excellent question.
Wait, so they're calling him a teenager?
Yes, they call him a teenager.
Interesting.
Like I said, Leanne Centaur seems to be aware that he is supposed to be in high school, not 38 years old, as he is. So what kind of teenage loser made fun of middle school girls and rode kitty trains? He grinned. I'm young at heart, he cooed. And stopped shouting, meatball head. You're foaming at the mouth.
Oh.
Ew, I hate that.
Yeah, it makes it like, it gives him a comeback, but it also makes him a bigger creep.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
The coda to this scene, of course, is that Mars then leans forward to Sailor Moon and goes, hey, that guy kind of looks like Tuxedo Mask. And she's like, no, he doesn't. Gah. So we should jump forward a little bit. So So meanwhile, Amy has left Luna to go into the sweets palace or whatever it's called. And she goes in, everybody's eating. Oh, there's this adorable thing where the kids are like, oh, this candy's great. And then the mothers are like, these candies look like gems, which I was like, so what? Like,
these are probably all the mothers who were buying gems at jewelry store OSP when they had that great sale 3 months ago.
What I so wanted to happen next was for Amy to be like, oh my God, that candy looks like textbooks. Like something to appeal directly to her. But that didn't happen. Instead, go ahead. What do you say?
I will say this whole setup is bullshit. Because they're like, hey, Serena, you can't go in there where all the free candy is. You gotta go with this girl you hate and go get street harassed in the middle of an amusement park.
Well,
and then as soon as they're out of sight, Amy and Luna are like, let's go check out that free candy.
No, but but here's the deal. Because then the princess comes out and goes, everybody like the candy? They go, yeah. She goes, cool. Blows smoke in their face. And everyone who's eaten, for some reason, rather than just drug them with a drug that affects everyone, this drug only affects people who ate the candy. Which is why Amy is A-okay. And everybody else gets knocked out. So then Mars and Moon show up and they go, Luna, what's going on? And they're like, Amy went in there. And they're like, oh yeah. So they go in and they meet the princess and they realize, you know what? It turns out I think the princess really is evil, right?
Yeah. Because they go to the castle, the sweet castle,
right? And
the doors have been locked.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a really great exchange where Usagi is crying because her best friend and her cat have been trapped and possibly killed by a monster behind a locked door. A reasonable reaction, I would say. And Mars says, "Stop crying." Ray goes, yeah, stop crying about everything. And Usagi's like, what the hell? Why aren't you worried? And she's like, I'm worried. I'm just not going to cry about everything like a jerk. Maybe she doesn't say all that.
Well, in all fairness, though, like at this point, Usagi has cried about a lot of things because she is one to do that. And I think
some people would say she's a little emotional.
Yeah, they would. They would say that. In fact, she would also say that.
She's a Cancer, blood type O.
And I think, like, you know, Ray was trying to be like, yo, calm down. Like, I'm worried too, but maybe we should just try to figure it out instead of crying about it, you know?
I don't think Ray's worried at all.
Oh.
I think she is worried.
I don't think she is.
Because this is Usagi's best friend or second best friend after Molly, after Naru, and her cat. And Ray just met this girl. Ray just met this girl and this talking cat like yesterday.
Well,
that's true.
If she didn't care, she would just like be like, okay, I'm leaving this place.
But I love Usagi's response, which is, I see you're a very cold person.
Yes.
Oh, I get it. You're a very cold person.
It's true. So they break into the castle. They transform, and then they get into the castle, and they encounter the princess. And they immediately, she does it again. She breathes smoke at them, and this smoke that makes them hallucinate. And then you get this weird moment. So Luna goes, okay, Sailor Moon, stuff's gonna happen. It's gonna be a trick. She goes, all right. So the princess goes, hey, I made you this like wreath to put on your head. And Sailor Moon's like, cool, here you go. Sailor Mars, thankfully, goes, no, you idiot, smacks it. The wreath turns into a snake, bites Sailor Mars, falls on the ground, and then turns to stone. Which leaves me going, so wait, was the snake real or not? I guess the answer is
the snake was like magic.
Yeah, but
because like snakes, they don't turn you to stone when you
right. Snakes don't normally turn you to stone either. But like at the same time, like it's such a weird, elaborate ruse. If you could make a thing that does another thing that is totally unrelated to it, why not just have a head wreath that turns you to stone?
My favorite part about this is that when Ray turns to stone, it's not like a gradual process.
No,
it is just like a series of stone segments just start appearing around her arm. Like boom, there's the thumb. Boom, there's the rest of the hand. Boom, there's the forearm.
And it's not even
really
even turning her to stone. It's more like it's encasing her in stone.
Ray is able to block that evil magic with her actual superpowers that she has. In the novel, there's a great bit in here where Ray is getting ready to use her powers to stop the transformation to stone, and The dream princess scoffed and crossed her arms. Go ahead and try, she challenged. It's no use. You'll be stoned before you know it. Serena glared at the evil woman. Leave her alone, the blonde snapped. Mars is stronger than a Candyland loser like you, and those pink frills on your dress are wicked tacky.
Wow. Wow.
So at this point,
Harsh.
Sailor Moon is Betty Felon at this point, I think. From the Boston area of Tokyo.
Yes.
The monster then has one of the best and scariest transformations.
Oh, it's so good. And it happens because they ask her to. They say, hey, stop with the illusions. She goes, all right, I will.
And what I love about it is it's so it's a slow transformation, and I like when they cut to Moon and Mars and their faces, and like Moon's face is just like her mouth is agape, and she's just like stunned about what's happening
it's
slowly
so good.
in front of her, and I love that reaction so much. And you just hear the little clicks of like she's a doll, you know. So it's just it's so creepy, but I love it.
That part is super well animated.
It is, and it is an amazing. It's an amazing creepy doll transformation too.
Yeah,
because like Princess Dream is not creepy.
No.
Princess Dream is just like she looks like Snow White or a Disney princess. But the transformation into they call her Dolly in the American dub is so creepy. It's really, really great.
So she because her head goes into her body, and then her body like does the weird swirling around, and then the new head pops out, and her eyes roll out. It's crazy. So then she goes, now I'm gonna have you hallucinate again. She makes them hallucinate again. Luna is like, okay, guys. Do you remember how this works? There's gonna be a trick. Do not fall for the trick. And so Clippity Clop up rides Tuxedo Mask. They both completely swoon, have hearts in their eyes. They jump onto the horse. They snuggle up to him with hearts in their eyes again. Luna is going, it's a trick, guys. They are riding on a carousel with Tuxedo Mask. Then, thankfully, in a case where he actually does do something useful and helpful, actual Tuxedo Mask shows up and goes, this isn't cool. He throws a rose, breaks the remote control apple, and you find out that Sailor Moon and Sailor Mars have been prancing around on brooms, thinking that they're a carousel. They wake up Amy, they transform Amy, and then they do power move, basically. They go, we need all of our powers in order to win. And that's kind of true, because we don't really need Amy's powers, but I guess we'll tell her that we do. She shoots
it's going to be really good when they combine all that cold water with the fire. That's going to make the fire way more effective.
Yeah, basically, Amy shoots the bubbles. Then Sailor Mars does her paper demon cast out attack in a scene. In a shot, which by the way is really exposing of her undersides. They had to cut a bunch of that out of the American version.
I think undersides makes it sound way worse.
It does make it sound worse. It's a Sailor Mars panty shot.
Undersides.
Because she's jumping down. She throws the thing on, then Sailor Moon throws her tiara, and then for the first time we get the combo move of tiara plus fire soul equals, I don't know, magma tiara, I don't know what you want to call it, but basically cool fire tiara. She turns everybody to dust, and they win. And like I said, not only does the villain turn to dust, but the entire Sweet Palace turns to dust, which again is pretty big and pretty blatant, and I do want to know what the rest of the world thinks. Like, is the rest of the world like, yeah, that was weird. A bunch of people went missing, and then an entire castle turned to dust, out of which a bunch of people crawled and went, oh, what happened? We don't remember.
Yeah. Hey, have you guys heard about what happened at Tokyo Disney this week?
Yeah, what happened?
Where 50 people went missing, and then they found them in, 3 days later, they found them comatose in a warehouse that then turned to dust.
What?
In the middle of the park.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, it's super weird. Turns out Sailor Moon, turns out Snow White was a robot, was an evil magical robot.
See, that is the question. Is Princess Dream like a cartoon character? Like, will they go back the next day and there's another Princess Dream, but this one's not evil because it's just like, yeah, the cartoon's for ages.
Yeah, I feel like Princess Dream is a character on the show in the whatever media company owns Dreamland. There is a Princess Dream movie.
So just to make matters worse and to rub it in, Serena starts this next scene being unreasonable, but I think Rey ends up as the jerk because the scene starts with them all having ice cream. and Usagi goes, "Hey, hang on, Mars, your ice cream is bigger than my ice cream." To which Mars replies, "You chose which one you wanted." And not to mention, you've probably been, she doesn't say this, but Serena probably has been scarfing hers very quickly. So it would make sense that hers is smaller. This upsets her to no end. So much so that she chases after her, trips, falls, drops her ice cream. Now, I would say Mars is totally justified, except just in that last shot, the amount of glee she's getting out of Serena losing her ice cream makes me judge her.
Yeah, but she was about to steal her ice cream.
Maybe.
I'm starting to expect that there's some kind of anti-Sailor Mars collusion happening here.
Oh yeah, there is.
Yeah, it's true. In the dub, she doesn't get mad at her because she has more ice cream. In the dub, she's mad at her because she's slurping her ice cream too loudly.
What?
They kind of emphasize. There's actually some animation there of Mars eating the ice cream, and they kind of add a little sound of and Serena does not find that appetizing. And starts yelling at her for it.
I like the idea that Serena suddenly gets very proper about eating ice cream, but yeah.
So that is the end of our episode. It ends on a great freeze frame. God, this episode's so good.
It's very fun.
Head over to Hulu and watch this episode if you haven't already. Which, again, why would you be listening to this if you have not watched this episode? Go check it out. It's, again, this one and next week's easily top 5 of what I've seen of Sailor Moon. But now it's time to figure out what we learned from the show. Now, Jordan, do you have the actual Sailor Moon Says segment from the
I don't remember
American dub?
I don't remember.
Is it about not eating armfuls of horrible food at amusement parks?
I don't think it was. I mean, I can call it up if you really want to know what it was. I just don't. I don't remember. It didn't make an impression, unfortunately.
I am curious to know.
All right, let me see. Opening program.
It's so cool knowing that I saved the day. You, with that tiny little frisbee? My fire bolts are what defeated that monster.
That was her pushing her over.
My frisbee against your silly fire bolts anytime, anywhere. Yeah? Oh. Neither of you defeated her. What? We all did with teamwork. Oh.
Now, if you could just keep that teamwork going all the time.
So the Sailor Moon Says in the real show is about how they all had to work together to win. It was about pro teamwork. No one could do it on their own.
Can we talk about how Sailor Moon refers to her Moon Tiara magic as a frisbee, a trademarked of the Wemo Corporation?
It's a metaphor.
But yeah, that's a great moral. But what did you learn? Bethany, we'll start with you.
What I learned is when you're in a conflict with a friend over how much ice cream they might have, whether it's more or less than what you have, don't be so much concerned about how much you how different. Okay, wait. I'm gonna start over.
Sure.
Don't be jealous of how much ice cream your friends have. As long as you have ice cream, it's all good.
It's true.
You might end up tripping and falling over your own jealousy and spilling all your ice cream.
Oh,
and that's what you get for being a dumb meatball head.
What? Oh.
How dare you? Jordan, what did you learn?
I learned after the first 2 times that you've been tricked by hallucinations, stop believing the things that you see. That's what I'm thinking.
All things that you see?
Probably. Until you could be reasonably certain that you're not hallucinating anymore.
But how can you be?
Oh my goodness. How do I know reality is real? It's a good question.
I learned that if you are at the amusement park and one of the attractions turns into dust and then floats upwards into a purple portal in the sky, like Castlevania at the end of Symphony of the Night, don't run to leave the amusement park. It's going to be fine. Just stop, get some ice cream. They'll stay open.
yeah, they don't. That's true. They don't close at all. Well, you know what?
Listen,
their security guard was Jedi, so he was off duty once his plan fell.
Don't let a attraction that is full of seemingly dead, actually comatose bodies turning to dust and vanishing in defiance of the laws of gravity stop